The agenda of today will be first to make a recall on the frame of the Ontochain action for the one that did not participate in the first two talk. Then you will have an overview of the iExec infrastructure by Anthony Simone, since you may use it in your development when you will be part of the Ontochain action. And finally, Alberto Caramella will present an overview of the use cases and the application related to Ontochain. So Ontochain in brief, this is a European funded project, so by the European Commission under the European Union's Horizon 2020 Research and Innovation Programme. And as part of the European Commission, Ontochain is also integrated in the Next Generation Internet Initiative. Ontochain was launched in September 2020 to empower innovators and end users through 3 open calls to develop blockchain-based knowledge management solution that will be incorporated in its novel protocol suite and software ecosystem for a better share of knowledge and value. Up to €2 million funding will be available. And people that will be selected will also have the possibility to have mentoring, to follow a mentoring program with best international experts in semantic web, linked data, ontology engineering, blockchain interoperability, knowledge management, distributed and decentralized computing, etc. Your mission, if you are selected, will be to imagine and engineer the next generation internet, and at least develop blocks of a software ecosystem that will serve the trust knowledge of humanity. You will contribute to a resilient internet by incorporating protection of privacy, user empowerment, inclusiveness, and openness in your approach. You will also contribute to a trustworthy internet with trustworthy content and information exchange, trustworthy identity. And finally, you will also contribute to a sustainable internet with interoperability of different data and data traceability. So what's in it for you in this action? First of all, you will receive pre-equity funding up to €200,000 per sub-grantee. You will have also the possibility to receive coaching and support from experts for scaling up, for example, innovative business during webinars. And of course, you will have access to these various expertise on a frequently based communication with these experts. You will have access also, if wishes, to top infrastructure and access, especially considering software technology. And Anthony will present you more in detail the iExec platform. You will have also access to my Intelli patent application developed by Intel one of the partners of our consortium. You will have also the possibility to have more visibility and promotion regarding your development, especially by participating to community building with innovators and serial investors. You will have also the possibility to have a promotion of your idea via media and access to top events. How the cascade funding works for the free call. So you will have a first call, namely research. The indicative date for the call announcement are the 31 of October of this year, and the call closure are the 30 of November. The call budget is 1.14 million euro. So what will be asked to you? It is to establish the Ontochain framework as a human-centric, decentralized, and trustworthy solution based on the available technology. You will receive, of course, during this development, some support. Then will be the call 2, namely protocol suite and software ecosystem foundation. It will take place during year 2021 and 2022. This is still indicative dates. The call budget will be 1,000,032 euro. You will build the Ontochain concept for the creation of trustworthy information exchange process and a more transactional content handling, and create the Ontochain framework prototype. So this will be done according to knowledge that will be available from call 1. Regarding call 3, application and experimentation, once again, the indicative date are 2022 and 2023. The call budget is around 1 million euro. You will have to exploit the Ontochain, let's say, guideline that have been proposed in call 2 to provide real-life use cases. Once again, you will do this by getting also some support from experts. So if we focus a little bit more on the call 1, which is the one that is the more interesting for the moment, I recall simply the date. So the call will be announced at the end of October, and the closure date will be end of November of this year. The objective will be to establish the Ontochain framework as a human-centric, decentralized, and trustworthy ecosystem around 6 challenges: application, semantic interoperability, on-blockchain data management, off-blockchain data management, ecosystem economy, ecosystem scalability, and integration. This call will be breakdown into 3 phases. So the phase 1, namely research proposal, will last 3 months. 15 to 18 projects covering the 6 challenges will be selected, and you will have to propose a research project for one of the 6 challenges affirmation. We will see later. I will give you more details about this. Then in phase 2, research award, 12 projects from the phase 1 will be selected, around 2 projects per challenges. You will have to further elaborate the concept proposed in phase 1 and prepare design specification to be implemented during the open call 2. The phase 3 challenges for conference. In fact, the best publication, whatever the phases, will be selected, and you will get extra funding for that. Let's speak now and give more detail on the different challenges and what will have to be done. So for the first challenge that we have named application, you will have to define a typical Ontochain application or service for trustworthy content handling and trustworthy knowledge and information exchange. Define typical Ontochain use cases such as marketplace setup and operation, fast checking against fake information, trust and secure data management, asset ownership management, secure and transparent copyright management, etc., etc. You will have to analyze the potential of trustworthy Ontochain application in various domains, such as education, service orchestration, e-content, social network, e-health, tourism, and similar. You will have also to analyze and define the functional and non-functional system requirements that have to be addressed in a further stage of the Ontochain action. Regarding the challenge semantic interoperability, you will have to develop a trustworthy, privacy preserving, secure, transparent, democratic, and traceable approach to access ontology, metadata, data knowledge, and information in the Ontochain ecosystem. Regarding the on-blockchain data management, you will have to design and develop a set of prototype functionalities for on-blockchain data management. The challenge here is to implement off-blockchain data management method to identify suitable consensus protocol for implementation of different formats, particularly suitable for on-blockchain operation. Regarding, regarding option of blockchain knowledge management, the challenge is to rely on extant and pioneer new methods that provide a trustless interface to the trustworthy blockchain environment. Research and innovation activities may focus on the design and development of initial prototype for off-blockchain knowledge management that support the various identified use cases and application domain of the Ontochain project. Concerning the challenge ecosystem economy, I guess that you all know that existing business ecosystems are semantically very complex and dynamic. So the challenge here will be to provide a market framework and business model for the operation of such ecosystem with the help of the Ontochain solution. Existing and novel approach and business model for business ecosystem development, starting from the technology area of blockchain, semantic web, Internet of Things, and similar, will be analyzed in detail and best practices proposed for implementation for the next school. Last challenge, ecosystem scalability and integration. The challenge is to actually build a semantically complex and dynamic ecosystem, as well as decentralized testing environment with the participation of diverse stakeholders. The key requirement here will be to integrate and support the initial Ontochain application. In addition to this, various scalability and integration aspects will have to be considered. So I have finished with, let's say, this recall on the Ontochain frame. Do you have any question? Okay, so if no question, anyway, you can share also in the chat box. So if there is no question, I will leave the floor to Anthony.
Is this call only open for universities or also open for companies and startups?
No, there will be the possibility for, let's say, 3 types of participants. So academia, SMEs, of course, group of academia and SMEs. It will be also possible on a consortium basis. And we will also open the call to natural person. So
I have a question.
Yes.
So I noticed it said that you were looking to for participants to do some research. So I suppose provide some documents. What if we have a working project? How should we present that to you?
I mean, this is a project that is already implemented. Do you have also exploit this project?
Yes, we have a working project with one market. So it's a decentralized exchange, and it has one market. So it just launched, but it's been running for a couple of months. So. But we don't have much documentation of it. So should we focus on putting together the documentation as part of the research phase? Does that make sense? Or how should we approach this if we have a working project?
So I guess that in your case, your participation will be maybe more appreciated in call 2 and call 3. Because it will be also open to newcomers. Since yes, the call 1 is really dedicated to some research, to some yes proposed idea and how it will it could work, and then yes, call 2 and 3 are more related to the prototype and the application. Anyway, we can also discuss this after this call this talk if you want.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah.
Hi, Caroline. My name is Nabil. I've got a question for you. In terms of all the 6 different themes that you've outlined, at some point, I'm assuming you will be providing a little bit more detail behind the expected outcomes. Is that correct?
Yes. Of course, you will have a guide for applicant is going to be edited and circulate for the participant, where there you will find so the challenges, of course, and all the requirement, the expected outcome, the key performance indicator that we need you to elaborate on.
Okay, that's very helpful. And then second question around that was, in each of those calls you've mentioned, there will be some coaching available. And is that going to come from one of those 6 or 7 partners that you have in your consortium?
Of course, there will be some people of our consortium, but we are at that time building a pool of advisory members from all over the world with a specific expertise in the different, let's say, topic that will be implemented here in Ontochain. So you will have you will receive support from all these people.
Okay, that's helpful. And just final question, just for absolute clarity, that as part of the research phase is purely predicated on coming up in any of those, under any of those themes, a concept, an idea, and some sort of detailed information behind it, which is innovative and different, as opposed to a product itself.
So the first goal is more yes, is more related to the concept.
Yep.
And then the idea and the outcome of this first call will be used in call 2 and call 3, and then we will have a more elaborated prototype. And of course, at the end of call 3, we expect some technology-ready application.
That's really helpful. Thank you, Caroline.
I've got a question, please.
Yeah.
Actually, 2 questions. I'm Ali from Vortex. So this call is very interesting. Thank you for the opportunity. I've been working on distributed ledger protocol since 2010, and we would like to submit a proposal here. I've got 2 questions, maybe related. First is the execution, the rate of the funding rate and its execution. So does it cover human resource, equipment, or services, or other things? And the second question is the application procedure. Shall we synchronize with someone so that we agree on an interesting topic, then we submit, or we submit immediately? Thank you.
So regarding the last question first, you will choose the topic that you want, in fact, and there will be no agreement before. It will be your own choice, I mean. And then for the funding. For the moment, it is indicative, but it will be on the basis of a lump sum, and we will break down the payment in three times according to each phase. You will be, of course, evaluate, and according to the result of the evaluation, we will distribute some share of the funding.
So does it cover the management resources in our institution, for example? Could we cover management resources in our team?
Yeah, you will be able to use it as it is a lump sum. You will be able to use it as you want, but you will have to provide us with some insight on how you have and of course expected outcome on how you have used this money.
Okay, thank you very much.
Is there any question?
Caroline, can I just jump in with 2 additional, more technical clarification?
Yes, of course.
So what I wanted to say for the first question related to whether an existing platform can be used and somehow integrated with the Ontochain solution. I wondered if the proposers would consider, for example, bearing in mind that they have something built already. There are topics, for example, 5 and 6 of our project that deal with questions such as how to build the economy of the ecosystem, and topic number 6, which is related to the scalability aspect. So perhaps a partner that has already built a platform in the context of our project could still get involved in something which is, let's say, exciting and innovative for them in these two subject areas. The second point about how to synchronize, because of course the call is competitive. During the month of November, similarly to what the European Commission does when new calls are open, there would be an opportunity for people who like to propose ideas to make a pitch on the topics. And for this, I believe it would be also possible to, after this, that people can meet and discuss and also agree which topics they address. So thank you for this interruption.
So maybe we can leave the floor now to Anthony.
Hi, Caroline. Thank you. So I'm having some technical issues, so if you see me disappear, don't be afraid. So basically, iExec is one of the 7 partners. We will bring our software, we'll bring our team to coach, mentor, and help the applicants. So this talk is, it's called Tech Background. Actually, I will not be too technical. The idea is more to give you a sense and a feeling of what iExec is doing and how you can use the software in your project. So what's covered here is who we are, what we do, what are the limits of iExec, and suggestion of projects on how to overcome these limits, and potential applications and integrations for Ontochain. So just for the sake of context, this is the iExec timeline, which was created in 2016 by Gilles Fedak from INRIA and Hai Wu-He from the Chinese Academy of Science. iExec was funded by an ICO in 2017, and it raised 10,000 Bitcoins at the time. And this ICO funded a 7-year roadmap that actually was completed early this summer. So the idea behind iExec was to use results, research results from the cloud computing and the HPC domains, and create a decentralized marketplace for cloud computing. How is it different? Basically, the idea is decentralized means we build the platform, but we don't control it. So we don't control the prices, we cannot censor anyone, and we cannot collect or steal data, we cannot fake results. So in the timelines, I will talk a little more about technology. The last point on the far right of this slide is that 2 days ago, we received an approval from the French SEC. And this makes our marketplace entirely regulated, which opens to not only technical projects, but also business ideas. So, yes. What do we mean by decentralized marketplace? So decentralized in the sense that it's hosted on the Ethereum blockchain, and marketplace in the sense that everything is controlled by orders. So the marketplace is somewhere where 4 types of agents meet. We have application providers, data providers, cloud providers, and requesters, which are basically users. All of these actors emit orders, and an order means an intention to do something. So I have a server and I want to rent it for this amount of money. Of course, on the Exec platform, this unit of payment is the RRC token. And then, so what's important is because the central component of the marketplace is on the chain, all of the access control, all of the trust, all of the confidence in the data and the result that is ingested in the chain, or the things that happen off-chain on regular servers is guaranteed by the blockchain and by our proof of contribution protocol. So you can see iExec has a gigantic marketplace where you can run applications and monetize applications on servers that you don't trust, but where trust is ensured by the blockchain. So a very brief walkthrough of how iExec works in practice. What it takes in iExec is first one user who wants to run an application or DApp for decentralized application on some worker pools. So worker pools are a collection of servers that are willing to do some work. The user brings, every actor brings an order on the marketplace saying, I want to monetize my application, or I want to monetize my server, I want to monetize my data. And the user is the last one and says, I want to bring all of these things together, and I'm willing to pay to run an execution, to run a task. So the central component of iExec here is the proof of contribution protocol, number 6 on the left here. So I will dive a little more into this. So proof of contribution protocol is our own protocol, and its goal is to validate on-chain that something that happens off-chain is valid, was performed correctly, and then to only pay the valid contributors if they provided the valid results. So I talked about orders. We have, this is the most technical it will be. So app orders, dataset orders, worker pool orders, and request orders. All of these orders, they are created off-chain, but they are signed with an Ethereum wallet. This proves that this proves back on the chain that they have a valid identity, and that, for example, they have the funds to actually perform the execution off-chain. So these 4 orders are sent back to the chain where everything is checked. We check that the requester really holds an Ethereum wallet and has the correct funds. We check that the application they want to execute is correct. In addition to all of this, what we do is staking. So every actor has to stake some money, meaning if they perform the computation correctly, they will be rewarded. But if they don't perform the computation correctly, their stake will be redistributed to the correct, the valid actors. So at the end of the execution, after all of this is done, I mean, after the work is done, workers send back the hash of the results on chain. This does not reveal the results, but it lets our PoCo protocol validate by a majority vote that the result was correct. There is more that goes into play, for example, reputation, and again, staking, meaning that given a certain confidence that the user wants, we will be replicating a task more to workers that maybe have a better reputation. And once a reputation plus replication threshold is reached, we consider the result valid, and then the smart contract on chain can pay everyone. And the requester gets access to the actual results of the task. So what's important here is that what we do, the core of what we do is off-chain computing. The goal is to really be able to support every application domain. So from artificial intelligence, machine learning, finance, 3D rendering, any traditional application, we want to be able to run it with a confidence trust level that is similar to the ones that you get in smart contracts on Ethereum. And in terms of provider, we can support any type of provider, so private, hybrid, and public clouds. And also, of course, just private owners who wants to plug a computer and join the network. So to support all of these applications, over the years in this timeline, we have introduced 2 types of tasks with different degrees of confidence and privacy. Standard tasks rely on replication. You don't trust the resources, so you meaning the servers. So you take your job, you replicate it, you send it to multiple servers that don't have a common incentive to lie to you, and you do a majority voting on the blockchain. With, as I said, within the mix of reputation and staking, we are able to give you a high confidence that the result returned is valid. The issue with that is that in most cases, the task has to be deterministic, because if it's not deterministic, then you cannot compare the result of the task. So this is what drove us to T-tasks. So T-tasks benefit from the same advantages, plus end-to-end cryptography and result signature. So T-tasks, very, very quickly, because it's getting technical. T-tasks are run into an isolated hardware enclave. So it's basically cryptography with a private key that is embedded in the silicon of the chip, of the Intel chip. So you encrypt your data set with the public key from the enclave, you send it to the network, and you have a guarantee that it can only be decrypted within the hardware, within the chip. Even the server owner, even the OS, with all of the privileges that exist, cannot read your data because it's always encrypted in main memory. It's only decrypted in the chip. And what's good with that is that we can sign the result also with the enclave key, giving you a proof that the result was computed in an enclave and linking the result to your code. And since you have a link between a cryptographic link between your result and your code, then you don't need replication. And also we can now support non-deterministic tasks. So I said we have 4 types of actors. So I will talk about providers first, and then about requesters, and give you the typical use cases that we see. So as an application provider, meaning you have some code you want to monetize, you have an app, an algorithm, a function, and you are able to package it as a Docker container with our SDK. You can set a price per execution in your order, send it to the marketplace, and you will get revenue. Every time your application is used, you will be paid in RLC the amount that you have defined. Another interesting application for that is that as not an application provider, but as just someone who wants to run an application, so more on the side of the requester here, you can run your code without vendor locking. So basically, with this model, the target platform for your software is now the decentralized network of computers. And everything works the same, whether the actual computer is on Amazon, at my home, or at Google's. You get access to all of these with just one platform and one order. As a data provider, if you use Intel SGX T-task, like I said, you get privacy for your data, meaning that you can let people use your valuable data set. Say that you have a trained data set that is huge and that took you a lot of effort to train, and you want to let people use it, but you don't want to let them copy it. So you put it on the marketplace, you encrypt it, and you set a price per execution. People will be able to use your data. You'll be able to even update it, and along the time life, the time life of your project, get revenue from your data, but no one will ever be able to steal it. And then finally, as compute providers, you have servers, you have a cluster, you have a private cloud that is underused. You can just download the iExec worker, run it on your resources, and start getting work to do when you don't use your resources. And something I haven't said, but I should have said, is that we support also CPUs and GPUs. And of course, the better your resources, the more money you will get per task. So all of these, as providers, I think in a few words, mean you can monetize all of these things that you have, software, hardware, and data instantly and easily. Now, as a requester. So requesters are not necessarily people. So I distinguish here 3 classes of requesters for the iExec platform. They all benefit from the same, they all get the same benefits, but some applies more to some user types than others. So for people, just user, what you get is you have a code to run. You want to run it just on the cheapest resources and without vendor locking. So you don't want to keep porting your application to AWS or Google or anything else. What you want is just run it and select at the last minute the cheapest resources. So iExec is for you. You don't have to publish your application anywhere on the marketplace. You can bring your own. And what's important is you get the customized level of confidence for each task, meaning that if you just want to render a movie and it's not that critical, then you don't have to use so much replication. But if you really, really have a strong need to make sure that the result you get from your task is the truth, the ground truth, because this information that you get from the computation is so critical, then you can get the highest possible trust. For Web2 applications, we have an SDK and we have APIs. So this allows you, if you already have an application somewhere that is running, to extract the critical component of your application and then send just that critical component to iExec. Then you get confidential execution, meaning you keep the data private. And in some cases, you can even keep the code private. We have demonstrated this with Python, for example. And you get trusted execution. Trusted execution, again, is you get a very high confidence on the result of an execution. And what does it matter? Well, if you really care about the result of some computation, usually what you would do is you will keep it at home and you will run it on your resources, and then you're sure that the result is not fake. Now, what happens if you need to prove to someone that the result of your computation is correct? Then you need to do it, you need to a third party. And how do you prove that this third party is not lying? You go to iExec. So trusted execution means you have a proof for yourself and for others that your execution has performed correctly and that you got the actual result of your execution. And then smart contracts. So smart contracts now can also request tasks or trigger tasks on iExec. So the way it works is they make a call to our smart contract with all of the parameters. The task will be triggered off-chain. So you could run any sort of application that is off-chain, and the result will be placed in a callback on the chain. Meaning after a few blocks, and after the smart contract has emitted the request order, the smart contract will automatically receive the data that they requested on the chain. So next is just a short summary table of the features and functionalities, standard and T-tasks. So basically what you need to know is an application, a task is a Docker container. We don't have any particular data format supported because our model is arbitrary files. In terms of supported storage, we support now IPFS, S3, and Dropbox. But really, you're free to do what you want with your code. So in the case of SGX, you can really just upload and download data within your task and support any sort of storage, including private storage. In terms of supported language, it's any with standard task. We have limitation with T task just because the programming model is a little trickier. In the case of T, and so every transaction, every task, every contribution to your work is traced on the blockchain. So you always have a trace of the history and also of the provenance of some data, which can be very useful in some cases. For example, think of fake news and fact-checking. And of course, our model is serverless and pay per task. You pay for the result of the task, not for the time spent running the task. Which brings me now to the current limitations and suggested improvements to the iExec platform. So you don't have to answer a question that we have had a little. You don't have to use iExec in your project, but if you do use iExec, we will help you. And now is a list of suggestions and ideas on what to do in the context of Ontochain. So first, known limitation is that we don't support time-based payment. Our task must end and return a result, which can be a problem if you want to run a service, for example. You cannot easily currently host a web server. So we have different ideas to do that. We are thinking of having a claim system where you would pay for an allocated time. And if you see that the resources you're paid for is not up and running, then you would file a claim. We are thinking of protocols like proof of elapsed time. It's an open problem. And if you want it, it's yours to take. We have also a limitation on the regarding data renting. We cannot at the moment use two or more paid data sets per task. So what's on the picture, for example, take two data sets, do some aggregation and produce another data set. At the moment is not possible. It's more an engineering problem, but it still needs to be done. Now the two projects or the two suggestions at the bottom are a little trickier and fundamental, and could probably serve not only iExec but the blockchain community in general. So first is order sharing. At the moment, when you have an order, meaning you have an intent to do something on iExec, you need to send it to people so they can discover it. And we have not found a way to do that in a decentralized manner. So you send it to the iExec marketplace, but the marketplace is off-chain and we control it. So theoretically, we could hide these orders. It doesn't prevent people to use the order if they discover it another way, but we don't have a way to share and discover orders in a decentralized way. And this is very important to our model. Another thing that is related is decentralized order brokering. Basically, order brokering is to run an execution, I need to match 4 types of orders. And this is also done centrally. There is no easy way to do this in a decentralized manner. And there is no economic incentive that is very clear to do it. And this is related not only to iExec, but to marketplaces in general. We need a way to motivate people into finding these orders, whether they're centralized or shared in a peer-to-peer manner, and then do the matching. Now let's go to suggested developments. So these are more building blocks that can benefit applications really in the blockchain community at large. So first, what's very fundamental in iExec is the oracles, because the oracles are the best example of an off-chain application that sends the result to the blockchain. Oracles are typically limited to simple data like API calls, or they are done with a centralized connector. So there's a point of centralization. With iExec, you can have very complex oracles. You can have oracles that do face recognition, sound recognition. You can have sensors, IoT sensors, machine learning, even a vote, user input. You can bring all of that together from different sources, make the algorithm public, send it through the proof of contribution protocol, and send the data back to a smart contract. And then in the smart contract, you have a trace of where the data comes from, but this can be very complex algorithms. So in terms of also kind of a different sort of oracle and complex algorithms, zero knowledge proofs. These, depending if you think the Keysnarks or the Keysnarks, either the proof is small and the verification time can be very long, or the verification time can be short, but the proof can be very large. And it depends on a number of factors that are not always easy to predict. So the idea is, okay, I keep my data private and I use a zero knowledge proof to prove that I own this data. For example, I want to prove on Twitter that I have a PhD, but I want to keep my diploma private. So I make a zero knowledge proof of the fact that I own a PhD. And I send the proof somewhere. In general, you cannot send the proof to a smart contract because of what I said. Either the proof is too large or the verification time will be too long. If you can make on iExec Z-key proof verifier, you could actually enable many applications to use the key proof, no matter what the underlying technology is, and no matter the proof size or the verification time. Another thing that's very interesting to us is stage channel exits. So briefly, stage channels are off-chain transactions. The way it works is I want to transact with someone off-chain so I can go fast and don't pay gas fee, transaction fees on the blockchain. So we decide to lock some amount of coins in a smart contract. We transact off-chain. And when we are good with our transactions that were free, we send back the state of our accounts and the history of the transactions back to the chain. And the smart contract on the chain checks the validity of the transactions that happened off-chain, the balances, and release the funds with the updated balance. Now, usually these type of state channels are very simple. It's just monetary transfers. If you want to support more complex applications and more complex rule sets, the amount of data, the transactions that you send back to the blockchain at the end to close your channel can grow very large. So this is actually also a job that you can do on iExec. Send a proof on chain that the transactions that happened off chain were correct with very complex rules and very, very large sets of transactions. And the last idea, I think that I presented a few weeks ago, is the marketplace of everything. So Ontochain is basically web semantic and ontological representations, ontological models. So at iExec, on our marketplace, we support only cloud computing resources. Now, what if you can adapt the marketplace to support any object that has an ontological representation? Then the idea would be, I have an object, I can have an ontological representation of that object, so I can monetize it. And what's interesting is that what we did with cloud computing, create a market for it, and also create market mechanisms for it. For example, to control the price and the incentives, you could do for cars, personal data, anything you can think of. And this is also very interesting for Ontochain. And last but not least, these are just a suggestion of integrations. So at iExec, we work only on Ethereum, but you are not limited to Ethereum for Ontochain. And we are actually very open to integration with other blockchains. So Hyperledger Fabric in general doesn't meet our decentralization goal, but in many cases, Fabric is a fantastic platform. And as we see just other blockchains as off-chain databases, you can still think of either bridges or oracles to interact with these other chains in particular application domains. Porting iExec to Hyperledger Fabric is also an open question. The idea being, can you have maybe less safe executions on Fabric, but go back to Ethereum when you need more trust, for example. Kleros is a decentralized court system, so you can thinking of integrating with it to integrate court rulings in your programs. Energy Web is just one example, but it's an energy blockchain. And any energy blockchain is interesting because it can give in your smart contract and in your application a proof of what energy source you're using or how many energy you're consuming. Proof of authority is just another blockchain project with the proof of authority protocol, and integrating with proof of authority is also opens many application domains. Of course, we're thinking sensor networks. If you can connect to a sensor network, then you can not only monetize computers, but you can also monetize cameras, video cameras, sensors in cars, body sensors. You can monetize 3D printing models, for example. Any sort of sensor or devices integration is very interesting to us. In the case of Ontochain, of course, social networks. If you can have connectors for YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, and even browser plugins to check the validity, the provenance of some statement that is made online. Prove, for example, in a smart contract, the ownership of some account. That would be very interesting for things like fact-checking and decentralized identity. In terms of infrastructure, we need to host Ontochain somewhere. So if you can think of drivers for hypervisors such as OpenStack and VMware Kubernetes, if you can integrate iExec and Ontochain natively on that node, that could give us a lot of decentralization in the Ontochain platform, which is also very good for us. And then in terms of wallets and assets, then it's completely open. Node.js and Ethereum are smart contracts wallets. They're very useful for a number of applications. And here the idea is the more wallets you support, the more applications and the more end users you will support. Because wallets come in different sizes and flavors with different complexity. And we believe that it is central to the adoption. Then we're just to here. So POIP is ERC 721 token. There are more. Any of these networks also brings a number of applications. For example, I can prove that I was somewhere, so maybe my opinion on something has more value in Ontochain is one idea. And the basic attention token is also very interesting in many ways, since the idea behind it is to pay people for the content they provide online. And this fits perfectly in Ontochain. If you pay people for the content they provide, they will provide quality content. That's the idea. So I'm getting near the end of this presentation, or maybe it's a little late. Yes, so in terms of what you provide, so Ontochain will provide funding, and we, iExec, will provide mentorship and support, first-class support. So if you decide to take one of these problems or bring your own, or use iExec into your project, because I see that people already have a project, we will mentor you, we'll be in a close relationship, we'll talk to you, support you, and help you develop your ideas. So in terms of where to start, this is more for reference. We have documentation, articles. PoCo series explains how the PoCo protocol works. DApp of the weeks and example dApps give you example codes of what you can do. And in a few days, we will launch iExec Academy, which is say a content hub for all documentations, tutorials, articles on iExec. So to be the main point of entry to discovering and using iExec. So I think, oh yes, I put this also for reference. These are the list of most of our source repositories. I'll let you read them later. And I'll give back the floor to Alberto, I think. So contact us. These are social media networks, accounts. Contact us, talk to us, explain what your ideas are, and let's work together. Thank you.
Thank you, Anthony, for this exhaustive presentation and very interesting one.
I don't know if you have time for questions.
we will, I think we can just ask everybody, or if there is some person that are not able to stay at least still 30 minutes more. If someone can't, just put a comment in the chat. If not, let's go on with 5-minute question, and then we will proceed with the presentation and the use cases of Alberto. It seems that someone.
Yeah, I have raised a hand.
Yes.
Can I ask a question? Yeah,
yeah,
wonderful. Thank you so much for the presentation. Just two very short questions. How do high Ethereum transaction costs affect or don't affect your platform? And the second question, you mentioned the French SEC approval. Could you comment a little bit more on that? Like, how does it make it easier for businesses to use your platform?
So on your first question, I think I forgot to say, so we are on mainnet, which is a little congestion at the moment and has high gas price. So it's not the best point of entry, but we are also on the girly testnet. So if you want to try Exec, you can get a few for free, Ether tokens on girly. And we have a girly RLC faucet. So you can also get, we call them girly RLC for free. And that will be your main point of entry. On the second question, no, I'm sorry, I cannot say much more because it's really not my domain. We published an article yesterday, I think, explaining what it means on Medium. Feel free to email me, and I will forward you to the right person. But basically, the idea is RLC plus KYC. You will give KYC to enter the platform, and you will get a one-for-one exchange. So you give one RLC that you bought, and we'll give you an eRLC after you proved your identity according to the European standards on KYC. And then once you have this eRLC, you can only transact with people that also did the KYC. And this is how it's compliant. Very shortly.
Thank you. I'll check the information. Thank
you.
Excuse me, it's possible to ask something?
Sure.
Yeah, hello. My name is Donato Russo, and I saw the slide concerning the IoT application you were looking at for the future. In fact, at Chainplug, we do have already a blockchain as a service IoT management platform. Okay. So we were thinking to explore your channel, your system, how to move forward. Thank you.
So I think the best thing to do is talk with us. So I think your use case, it's typically what you're looking for, meaning you have a network of IoTs, we have a network of computers, and in addition to our regular applications, you might want to go and get data from IoT. So you should talk to us depending on what blockchain you're on, what are your protocols. Typically, a nice topic would be, can we find an interchange protocol between your blockchain and ours? Can we make it a standard? Can we make a proof of concept out of it?
You see, at Chainplug, we are not a blockchain, but
okay.
But we integrate all blockchains. We are a workflow automation platform. So okay. So basically, our main character is not KYC, but is KYD, know your device. Whereas IoT identify themselves or with humans according to certain principles.
That's typically a use case that we had in mind for a while, meaning the result has only value if the data, the input data, is authenticated. So that's really a very good use case, and I mean, technically you should come and discuss.
Yes.
In terms of general idea, it's very valid.
Okay, thanks a lot. How do I contact you?
So here's my Twitter. Our contact is also on the website.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So Anthony, I think there is still a question from Adagio that raised her hand. I guess that if you want,
I have asked my question already. Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So I think I should leave the floor.
So maybe we can leave the floor to Alberto. Alberto, please.
Yes. I take the screen.
Yes.
My screen is here. You can show my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Hence, my presentation is about use cases, application, and with a small conclusion. As you see in use cases, I consider use cases a sort of bridge between platform functions and application. Use cases, in some sense, simplify this, make a bridge and simplify that. Hence, use cases are used in order to facilitate the design, because the number of use cases is less than the number of applications, and also allow to facilitate to implement a more robust application because different application can be built simply by suitable orchestrating certified use cases. Okay, hence just to summarize a preliminary list of use cases. Use cases can be related to persons, for example, identity management, reputation assessment, or related to data, copyright management, metadata and document assessment, and including the identification of fake information. But some of these other use cases also can be also considered. Okay. Next. Hence, just to summarize key feature of Ontochain. Key feature of Ontochain derive from blockchain, which is characterized by decentralization and data immutability and data timestamp. But in our project, we provide also specific emphasis on integration of ontologies and linked data, and this way to enlarge this kind of possibilities, which at that time are not so yet exploited. As by this way, we can support queries from database of different origin, and we can support reasoning. Okay, hence let me understand, summarize opportunities with applications in blockchain. There is sometimes too excessive emphasis that the world is going to this new generation internet. But we have to identify more suitable application to migrate in this direction. Applications which are more suitable to migrate in this direction as disruptive applications, and or we can application which can be significantly improved by this enhanced technology. Hence, disruptive technologies which can be implemented on blockchain applications can be or more user-centric, and in this way they support the inclusion and the collective intelligence, or can be more data-centric. And this also support a goal of new generation internet. In fact, by integrating ontologies and linked data, we can definitely support a data-centric applications, and really this way, a weak business point today is that linked data and ontologies have not achieved the better use at the moment, unless in internet at the large. Another kind of application which are suitable to to evolve in new generation internet are those which significantly improved, because by new generation internet they become more efficient or more reliable and secure. And in any case, we have not forget that in this evolution, we have also to cope with threats. Hence, we have threats of scalability, energy consumption, security. And of course, also the novelty of this technology imply also threats in identifying really new disruptive application, because there is a bridge to match between those with understand application but don't perceive that there is a technology we can support they need, and technologies we cannot sometimes perceive the possibility of new application. And of course, we have to identify the most suitable business model, and also we have, in some cases, also to synchronize with regulation, standards, and so. But in any case, even threats is not a problem, because this is also a research research project. Then I enter more in detail in applications. Of course, I made this categorization of applications not only for having simply a catalog, a taxonomy, intelligent taxonomy, but also to elicit from this taxonomy if something can be identified as new applications. Hence, I distinguish application according to direction. The domain, we can be finance, health, and so, and we have identified 12 domains, and some domains are fully distinguished in subdomains. But we have also to distinguish the stakeholder. Hence, we have many dimensions to consider. For example, in health, we have application typically for citizens, other more of interest for public administration, for example, to control the pandemic, and other for enterprises, for example, for controlling the distribution of medical devices. Whilst for citizens is a typical application is to control the medical recording. Hence, the following slide a short overview about the 12 domains. In finance as being the first domain initially, initially intended also to partly bypass banking, but banking has also become a very interesting field on its own, because finance identify these possibilities of using blockchain for having more efficient or more secure operations. But there is also a specific area of finance, which is philanthropy, social inclusion, humanitarian support, crowdfunding. And in that case, the focus is having disruptive solutions with trust and decentralized solutions, and also easier to activate. For example, in humanitarian support, this is a real possibility for blockchain application. Of course, the sector of real estate property is benefit from that in different areas in order to control the property management and control. Then the health is becoming a very healthy area for that, both from the citizen perspective and also from the business administration, for example, to obtain timely information from properly anonymized data. And in that case, for example, with an early warning emphasis. In that case, early warning in health means integration also with AI. Hence, it is one of the domains in which there is an interaction between health and AI. And the platform mentioned by Anthony also has this also as existing possibly now, and will be even extended. Then in public services, we have to support certificate, different kinds of certificates for the citizens, but also for sharing between different kinds of administrations. Hence, here it is a typical, another really interesting application for blockchains, since many different bodies can retain the ownership of their data, but they can interact easily, but distributed ledger. Then there is also the possibility of mobility applications for traffic emergencies or for optimization of traffic control. some cases in which not only AI but also the Internet of Things is comes in to collaborate with distributed ledger. Then we have energy and waste control as a different area of possible application. Hence, also the Industry 4.0 is an area which can be impacted and can benefit from distributed ledger, and the same for agri-food logistics. I don't enter in too much detail because it's sufficient to be high level. Then there is a possibility for tourism and commerce, in which in both cases it is possible to support better the citizen-to-citizen disintermediation. And in that case, we have a trust solution as well, and also to support the long tail. Science and technology both have two basic issues. Both in science and in patents, we have some time to cope basically with different databases not very supportive or willing to be federated. Hence, in science, it is useful to provide the solution to federate data of different publishers and provide them the fair remuneration as well, and the same for patents, which different publishers are really patent officers. In both cases, based on the basis of this federated global data, it is possible to make added value application on top of them. Finally, of course, we have the big area of new media and entertainment, with for the normal journalism, but to citizen journalism. In both cases, in discovering fake news, but in the citizen journalism also to disintermediate journalists and their public, and the same in media. Finally, in the education, we can put a distinguish between certified education and how-to courses more basically, but to validate tutor capability and the courses and so on. These are possible ideas, and I just brush these ideas in order to identify that we are making activity in order to identify fields of application, of convincing application for these things. As in conclusion, the project Ontochain. The project starts with very good grounds, because there is a solid background with multifunctional and advanced platform. And we have a vision of new possibilities. We have only brushed this area. In any case, we have 3 times year of research. And these 3 years imply activities in evolving the platform and taking into account also research on distributed ledger technology. And moreover, enhancing the data marketplace functionalities and other marketplaces as well, extending the identification of possible application, because also it is an area not to be overlooked. And of course, finally, after these steps, implementing the most interesting and self-sustaining application. In the project is mentioned that at the end, 10 applications can be evolved from different contributors, and the contributors are you, because the call is for you in order to give you an opportunity to participate to the evolving platform and to evolve them in a self-sustaining application in your case. This is the goal of the project. Hence, apply to the call I understand that there are interest to understand this call, but we have to consolidate the final documents. The final document will appear at the end of October, and we have all November to the month of November to apply. Sorry, I see that you have not shown my face till now. Hence, we are pleased to join the ecosystem because everyone will benefit. Okay.
Thank you, Alberto. Now I think it's time for question, if any. So we have one in the chat box. So if we are a startup working on something that will use ontology and could use iExec, not necessarily, this is in bracket, we should apply? This is the question.
Yes, I understand that. I understand this subtle question. If we are already advanced in this area, may we apply? Of course, yes. We can mix experiences and find the best for everything. Because certainly we have an idea, but it's very likely that others, given the state of technology, some others can have had some similar idea just in this times. But now we have idea also in this project, and we have funding. As please be open, and we can also fund your proposal.
Any other question? So one question from Edilson Osorio. Probably I missed some point how to apply. So I will answer. The call will be open at the end of October, and we will close it at the end of November. For that, of course, you will be able to have access to all the information on the Ontochain NGI website. And the portal for submission will be the F6S portal. So in the next talk, we will provide you also with more details regarding that aspect. Okay, a question from Veko, but I guess Vlado has already answered. Maybe we can bring it to all the audience. No, it's okay. Okay. Is there any question? Okay, so maybe yes.
Yes, I have a question. I did see there was a finance and trading were use cases for applications. I'm just wondering, in the main sort of advert for this event, I didn't see those use cases sort of highlighted, but in these presentations that they were included. So I'm just wondering, in this first phase, research phase, are finance and trading, would they be looked on as favorably as other things that were highlighted in the advertisement for this event? So we saw e-health, we saw fake news, we saw other things in this advertisement. So I'm just wondering, is there a prioritization of use case areas for research, that some are more prioritized than others, or not?
No, at the moment I don't see a prioritization. I mentioned with the cases only a way to think and to evolve from pure technology to applications. And the application, as simply mentions, to suggest ideas, but there is not absolutely limitation about applications. Of course, application which can be useful in can benefit from blockchain. And so probably, if to be concrete, you see that next at the end of October there are 6 calls. If you are more interested on application, we can can apply, for example, to the first call, which is more on application. There are also other kind of applications.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other question?
Let me say, I made an answer probably to question not till raised. Probably some people are a little in doubt if they have to present one to a call to all to a topic for another topic. But if some person has in mind 2 topics, in my opinion, they can present also two topics, for example, for topic 1 and topic 2. But in any case, they will only be financed for 1. If they do.
So I have a question. So if I understood correctly, so we can apply on each of the 6 topics. So like 6 different proposals, but so in this case, will bringing us more chances to be selected on one, but we'll be only selected on one topic.
Selected appliers will be selected for one.
Yes, but we can apply on like multiple topics to increase our chances to be selected.
Also, if you have very undecided if you prefer one topic or another.
May I intervene here? So if a partner applies for more than one topic, we will recognize this and we will not allow that this happens. So one partner would be able to participate in one topic. This is how the draft of the document is currently prepared by us. Yes.
Yes, I understand that will be only selected for one topic. But let's say that we have like 2 ideas, but we don't know which idea is best suited for you. And maybe we can apply for both ideas, and then you select the better one actually. So this is like a legit one to apply for 2 topics, and not counting to be selected on both actually, but just applying for 2. Is this okay or is this not okay? Just there are rules that we need to apply only for one topic.
So I was reading the call document that prepared by the coordinator. Perhaps I leave it to Caroline, but from what I have read, this is not allowed. So Caroline, could you please answer this question?
So first of all, I guess this is important to recall that you will have the possibility to make a pitch on your idea, and maybe at that time during this webinar, this talk, it will be the moment for you to test both your idea and then select one.
Okay.
At the end, anyway, Only one proposal from one participant will be retained. I think the best thing to do, yes, it's to try your idea at the moment of this speech. We let you the opportunities to do that. So please, better to proceed like this.
Okay, I understand. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, so if no more questions, then maybe we can conclude, Caroline. What do you say?
Yes, we can. I guess if there is no question, we can conclude for this talk for today. We thank you to be present, and I hope it was useful for you, and I invite you to be present to our next talk the next week. Thank you to everybody, and hope to see you next week again.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everyone.